today.
Is it?
It is.
Uh-oh.
It's a cooking with Carl week. Surprise, surprise.
I don't know the recipe.
Uh,
Heck is zucchini lasagna.
as per Mary's request last week to focus on something.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so we're doing zucchini lasagna today, Mary. And
Yeah.
we hope you enjoy it.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I thought there was going to be pasta layers. I didn't know that it's actually just zucchini. So that's very interesting for me.
So this is a great recipe, actually. If you are somebody who's looking to eliminate carbs from your life, zucchini is actually such a versatile vegetable, and it's amazing to replace those additional carbohydrates. You can spiralize it, you can slice it thin, you can do all kinds of things to make it a really, really great carbohydrate replacement. All right.
Just move this.
So as we're getting set up here, I will go ahead and tell everyone exactly what you're going to need for the recipe today.
Yeah.
So if you are growing zucchinis in your garden, which Marlene, I know you are, but if there's a few others of you who are growing zucchinis in your garden and you've let them grow a little too much, this is a perfect recipe for that because they want 4 large-sized zucchinis, which for us is translated into about 6 small zucchinis.
You said firm, right?
Firm.
You want them firm.
Absolutely firm. That's right.
And sliced very thin. Right?
Exactly. Yep. So you want about 2 pounds of ground beef for this if you're using meat in your lasagna. If you're not, that's fine. You can just keep with the vegetable sauce and that's all right. You want some...
Tube.
Yeah, we got
beef tube.
Of course, we're the affordable people, so the ground beef tube. You want a tub of ricotta. So we've got one 454 gram tub of ricotta cheese. You want a tub of shredded Parmesan. So this one, how many grams is in this one, Carl? Let's take a peek.
125.
125 grams of Parmesan.
It's a lot of air in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
You want 2 cups of shredded matzah. Now, we got the value matzah, and the trick with this is that it's much more inexpensive if you buy it unshredded. The other thing is that pre-shredded cheese, when it's not in a tub like this, pre-shredded cheese often has like a strange coating on it. What's it for, Carl? What's
I think
that
it's a
coating
preservative because the more you shred, the more air can touch the cheese. So
There you go.
It would go moldy quicker. I think.
So in this case, what we've done is buy this because we want a meltier, more delicious cheese for our flavors.
Yeah.
For our flavors, but also for our layers, which is what I was trying to say.
Well, you know what? You're not wrong because I see some wild spices here, so flavors is probably.
Kyle usually wants Tex-Mex, but this week I am adding some non-traditional flavors to the lasagna and letting Carl try it out.
Some
This is
weird stuff. Right?
It is
What do you
weird
got there?
stuff.
What do you got
It
there?
is weird stuff. So now this is off recipe. So if you have a traditional way, because you want about 2 jars of any kind of your favorite pasta sauce, whether it's your own personal or whether it is, you know, a jar of ragu, whatever you're using off the shelf or that you've made yourself, you put it in. We're actually using this sauce today. So we're using like a traditional kind of just plain
Monster sauce.
monster tomato sauce, and because of it, I'm jazzing it up with things that I like to put in pasta sauce, which might sound funky, but is actually super delicious, including ground cinnamon and a little bit of nutmeg. I usually add a little bit of clove too, and I know, like I said, it sounds like I'm cooking gingerbread, but it's actually super yum.
I'm curious.
He's curious,
I'm curious and I'm open to trying it.
so he's gonna try it.
I'm not
because-
even a zucchini fan.
No,
so here we are.
But anyway, that's the pasta sauce. So whatever flavor of pasta sauce you're using, you need 1 egg. You need, and that's for the ricotta, of course, to bind the ricotta.
Yeah.
You need salt and pepper, and you just do it to taste. I mean, again, it's cooking, so I would do, depending on how big your lasagna is, this is enough for 12 portions. So I would say 2 teaspoons probably, and then also you want a small handful of parsley. Chopped. Now this is the best because Carl loves parsley.
Yeah.
Today we've experimented and we've gotten, it's Italian, right?
Italian parsley. So the leaves are a bit bigger, stronger flavor, I noticed.
Super yummy, delicious.
And we had one of our members actually here help us cut the parsley already.
And you will see her featured in the beginning of the short.
Yeah.
Which is
that's
cool.
right.
Yeah. Thanks, Carolina. Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we're actually going to start today with our hot tip.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the hot tip right away. So one thing that I want to talk to you about is using zucchini in recipes. So when you're using zucchini as something like a pasta or you're spiralizing it, something that you can do prior to spiralizing it or right after slicing is to press the zucchini. Now, what makes the zucchini special and low carb is that it's full of water, right?
Yeah.
So zucchini is always full of water. It's just the way that the composition of the zucchini is made.
So how long you been having this out for here?
Well, this has been out for about 15 minutes, but what you want to do is you want to start by slicing your pasta sheets or your zucchini sheets super duper thin.
Yeah.
So Carl has pre-sliced these, and that's the only reason why we're not slicing these on camera. But they're pre-sliced because what we've done is we've cut them thin, we've salted them, and I want you to take a close look at this paper towel here. I'm just going to start lifting them off. Carl, can I pass them over to you one at a time? So as I lift them off, and you can put them on a tray, and we're going to blot them as we do this, but you can see how much liquid has been pressed out of.
Yeah, they're drying up
Here,
already,
like,
so the salt really is the trick, hey?
The salt desiccates it, and then you press it, and look how much water already from these thin slices has come out. Now we're going to go ahead.
Desiccate.
Yeah, desiccate,
Sounds like scientific.
Sounds like an Egyptian mummy to me.
Or like a CSI episode.
Yeah, I know. But needless to say, here we are, and you can see, look at all that water just from the zucchini sheet, right? And you can also see that I put some weight on it. So if I lift off the next layer, you can see already, again, pressing down and salting is a huge part of ensuring that these have less water. And when they have less water, the sauce is less diluted and you have a firmer noodle.
It's a good tip.
It's a good tip.
It's a good tip.
Press your zucchini 15 minutes in advance and salt the heck out of it. And of course,
a little bit of prep goes a long way.
A little bit of prep goes a long way. And of course, you know, as you're lifting off your soaking wet stuff, give your zucchini a bit of a wipe so that you're taking off the excess salt as you go, okay? Because you definitely don't want overly salty zucchini strips.
No, I'm gonna just, while you're pulling those off, I'm gonna dice this a bit smaller.
Please, dice, yeah. So I'm gonna continue to just throw these here so that we can go ahead and be ready, and I'll get Carl to reblot them after as we put them in. One thing that I do want to also mention is that zucchinis are a super versatile vehicle for flavor. So how many of you have like a bunch of different zucchini recipes just off the top of your head? Mary, you must.
I cut it into cube and then mix with meat or with pepper or red pepper, onion, all together and stir together.
That's great. Anybody else do anything special with zucchini?
I learned
all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, what do you do, Hild?
Oh, you can cube them and mix them with tomatoes that are probably prevalent and ripe at this time. Yep. And have them as a bed for your sausages or just a stew. You can make pasta sauce with them.
Yeah.
You know, again, with tomato paste or tomatoes, and boil them down, get some of the water out, and then with your ground beef, that's basically your pasta sauce.
Amazing. And did I hear anybody else with a little tip there? Did I cut anyone else off there? No? But if anybody else has anything to add, throw it on in. We love ideas. But needless to say,
one way I over the summer was to slice it. I had always sliced it like a cucumber, you know?
Yeah.
But you slice it lengthwise, kind of in a quarter, so that pyramid shape, and just toss them on a barbecue with spices.
Nice.
And I didn't know they'd come out like crunchy almost.
Amazing.
That woke me up to zucchinis. Before that, never really a fan.
Never really a huge fan of zucchini.
I had it mushy always, so I don't know.
You know, it was just recently when I had to do some changes in my diet when I was trying to reduce carbohydrates that I discovered this zucchini pasta thing. And can I tell you, what's really interesting is it's all about the amount of time you cook it.
Yeah.
It is. When you're cooking zucchini that way, it's like you just want to cook it a little less time to maintain that really good texture of the zucchini so it doesn't go mush, right? And I'm sure that's the same for most of you with the zucchini recipe, right? It's making sure it doesn't go mushy. Now, what we're going to do first is build our sauce. So what I'm going to ask Carl to do is actually start by chopping an onion and chopping up some garlic.
Sure thing.
So I'm going to I cleared off that tray for you.
It's hot over there.
So maybe what I'll do is bring this back.
Oh yeah, I can do it right here, for sure.
So that there you go. I'm going to get you to chop that up.
Cutting boards.
Isn't it fancy to have a couple of cutting boards? It's also really handy to have a cutting partner.
How would you like them?
I would like a pretty finely diced. So this is for our sauce. So what we're going to do first is just build our tomato sauce. So Pretty basic with the tomato sauce. We're going to start off by cooking some of the actual meat. So I know that generally speaking, when you're cooking a sauce, you're cooking it for ages and ages and ages, and you're doing it very differently than the way I'm going to show you today. The reason why we're doing it this way today is for the interest of time, okay? So we're going to do a kind of a MacGyver sauce here, and not in a traditional way that you build a tomato sauce and cook it off and spend hours.
But I think in the oven, it's going to pick up more flavors, no?
Oh, it
Because
absolutely
it's
will.
paired with everything else.
And what we're going to do today is actually we're going to focus on cooking off the onion and the garlic and flavoring the meat up first, then building the sauce by adding the sauce once we've par-cooked the meat, and then adding in the spices with everything else. So we're going to do it that way. So I'll toast off the spices first. I'll bloom these spices, Carl. Our hot tip from last time, bloom these babies up. Has anybody at home tried blooming your spices since we talked about that a couple weeks ago? Has anybody given it a try?
Piece out.
It's actually very, very handy.
Yeah, instead of just sprinkling them in, you just, cook them for a bit.
Cook it up, get more of a flavor, right? The other thing that I wanted to mention to everybody while I've got you on the call, we still have space. If anybody wants to come in person to the club, we have space.
We just got to do it by appointment.
Yeah, we got to do it by appointment. But if you'd like to come in on a day like this and help us with this, help us with the cooking show, you're very welcome to come in and spend the time with us. So just let us know, send us an email or give us a call, and you can also be on.
Just you got to have your vaccination.
Oh, definitely. Your vaccination
record just the first time, but you give us a ring, we'll schedule it up.
Absolutely, we'd love to see you.
Okay, so more diced? I mean, I can go crazy.
I mean, that's pretty good, Carl. So I'm going to take that on over with the spices.
Texture.
Yeah, a little bit of texture is good. I'm going to also maybe I'm going to take this. Yeah, you do garlic there. I'm going to go on over here, and I'll take the camera with me.
Okay.
How's it? What's everybody been cooking this week? Somebody tell me what you're up to. Hild, what have you been cooking?
Well, I'm prepping for a gathering on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to have a Caesar lunch, which means that everybody gets a glass of Caesar, virgin or otherwise.
Yeah.
And there are 2 picks or skewers in them. One is a seafood, which means that there are shrimps at the top, and then a scallop bacon wrapped, and a half a lobster tail, and then the same thing going down. So half a scallop, and then another couple of shrimp. So that's the seafood stick.
Oh.
It will have a cherry.
Caesar. It's literally my favorite drink. I love a good Caesar.
And the other one is a meat one. I've made some Thai meatballs, and I'm going to make mini schnitzels that go on the skewer. And what else? Oh yes, I'm going to rice paper wrap a ground beef filling and half a sausage.
Interesting. What does the rice paper wrap help with? Keeping it together?
Well, it holds in the ground beef mix, along with some rice noodles, and for crispness, some pecan bits for crispness. And this is where I'm going to be spiraling zucchini and carrots.
Yeah, it's
so you make like a fresh spring roll.
Kind of, yeah. That's interesting.
Okay, so just to catch everybody up on what I'm doing over here, I've got a half a cup of onion, I've got 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, and I've got a teaspoon of nutmeg.
With the beef?
With the beef.
Ooh.
Super.
We'll see. All right.
Yeah, it's a different kind of pasta recipe.
I'm a skeptic.
That's okay. You
I'm a
can be a skeptic. Wait and see, Carl.
It smells like beefy
It
cinnamon.
will be good.
It's gonna be delish. Hild knows. Hild knows.
Yeah, is this a secret?
It is a secret. We are now sauteing this off. It'll just take a minute. You want them to become transsucculent, so you just want to give them a couple minutes just to cook down.
That's another good word.
Isn't it?
Is that a word?
It is a word. It's a real word.
Transsucculent.
You know what's funny with English is that sometimes you say words and they come out of your mouth and you think, wow, are those really words? But they are.
I mean, half of words are just 2 words mixed together.
I love words, and I love the
English
roots
is
of words, and
messy.
it's fascinating. It's such a cacophonous language, isn't it? It's so
Well,
hard. There's no softness to it. I mean, it's different when I'm speaking French or Maltese, right? Which are more romantic languages. Although Maltese does have some Cyrillic in it, so
Yeah.
it's all different all the time. Yeah,
Linguistics is interesting, and how
it's fascinating. Yeah.
they have a life of their own. They pick up other words from other places or
Yep.
dialects.
Yep. It's quite incredible. And what's interesting is that if at a younger age you're able to pick up a few different languages, it's much easier. Like for example, my dad spoke 7 languages.
Oh,
Yeah, because
some
when
people
you're-
have a brain for it though.
Well, it's the proclivity for it is developed when you're young.
True.
Like if you develop your mind that way when you're young, it's interesting. Your brain can kind of process it a little better. It gets harder to learn language as we age, but it's just because your neural pathways develop, right? You develop circuit ways, and then it follows the same way all the time.
I may have chopped too much garlic.
Yeah.
But I mean, can you really go wrong?
You can't go wrong with
Yeah.
garlic, guys. You can't go wrong with too much garlic, especially when you're cooking for Carl, right?
Yeah. So there's quite a bit. Do you want that now?
I want it now. Yeah, let's cook it off
Throw it in there.
as we build our sauce base here. Yep. Does anybody have funky stuff that they put into their own sauce?
Cinnamon, but.
Anybody else have a strange spice that they put into sauce that you wouldn't quite expect?
Yeah.
What's that?
I think most cultures have a group of spices which they use, and I was really quite fascinated when I read about kofta spices. Again, cinnamon being one of those things. Garam masala, and yes, the Eastern spices that now have come into their own as our cultural mixes together.
Yes, it's quite wonderful actually, and
It's a win-win for food.
it is. There's so many fantastic
sure.
combinations, aren't there? And it's amazing to try somebody else's culture, to try somebody else's flavors and learn from it. It's quite wonderful.
I'm gonna just be proactive and grate some of this cheese. Is that
Yeah,
right?
please do. So Carl, you need to grate about 2 cups of cheese. Now, if you're not up for grating it at your house, you can also cut it small and put it into a food processor if you wish, if anybody has a food processor.
It's on low, right?
It is
Not
on
too
low.
high. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we were smoky or something.
I don't know if they can hear me over the
I think it's the garlic smell.
Oh yeah, the garlic is quite intense, but once it cooks down, it gets very sweet. When you roast garlic, I love roasting garlic, cutting it in half and putting it in the oven with a bit of olive oil. Oh my gosh, then you squeeze it out.
Yep.
Yeah, so good. So good. Mary, what kind of spices do you cook with in your food?
When I cook, I don't put too much spices.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found the most often one that I use is turmeric.
Turmeric's a good one. I want to get into that. Yeah.
Turmeric is very healthy spice.
Yeah, it reduces inflammation, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is
You
amazing.
can
Now,
take it for sore
Yeah.
knee. People swear by it.
I take it in pill form
Yeah,
too because
interesting.
for my inflammation in my joints, but I've never.
Correct.
I'd love to learn more about that. Do they use it for color in food, or do they use it more for like the flavor? Is it very distinct?
For flavor, not for color.
Not for color, eh? I know there's a few spices people use to like, make their rice a certain. It's saffron,
Saffron's
right?
the color, yeah.
Yeah. And the other one is a
Yeah.
pacara.
For color? Yeah.
No.
Like I read in places, if you want to turn your rice a color, you use specific, like you use like a paprika, or you use a turmeric or a saffron. But Carl's uses probably just saffron. See, this for me is a learning curve. I'd love to hear more about turmeric. And what do you use it mostly with?
With meat.
With meat, hey? Like directly.
Yeah.
I use a lot of cumin.
Cumin, turmeric. They both together with onion.
And it makes meat almost more meaty somehow. I don't
Nice.
know.
Yeah, that's great.
It's mixed with meat. Yeah.
Yeah, like deep into the flavor.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Thank
Yeah.
you. Great. And I see we have a few more people on the call here. If anybody else has specific spices, please jump in and let me know because I can't see the whole list.
Do you want all this cheese done?
Yeah, just do it all. Please do all of
cheese
it.
it up.
We're
Here
gonna
you go.
cheese it up. We always cheese it up around here, friends.
Cheese and garlic just forever.
So I'm gonna actually add all of my meat here. So I'm gonna put it in
Yeah.
now, and I'm gonna focus on breaking this down into pieces, and then we'll build our sauce after that. So I'm just gonna squeeze out the meat tube, which seems really weird and
Tube it.
unnatural.
Yeah.
However, it's very affordable.
You don't
So
like tube meats?
tube meats.
Well, I mean, that's a sausage, right?
All right.
The original tube meat.
The original tube meat. But that's like with intestinal casing tube, not a plastic outer paper. All right, here we
I
go.
was thinking about making my own hot dogs or
Were you?
sausages. You need a big machine and
A grinder,
grinding, but you know.
What's the percentage between meat and fat?
Good question. I gotta learn. It's just an interest I had, and
Yeah.
I saw some of these mixers, like our pastry mixer. You can just plop on a grinder because it just uses the motor.
Oh, that's so cool.
And a tuber. It's not called a tuber, but you know what I mean. To actually casing, to case them, right?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who here makes sausages? Anyone?
Oh,
Anybody grind their own stuff?
That's an ancient art.
I know from watching, because I'm one of these addicts to the cooking shows. I watch like
That's where I saw
Barbecue
it.
Masters and
That's where I
things
saw
like that. There's a specific grind that you need, and there's a specific percentage of fat
You
to
know,
actual meat.
Since I started this show, I've been really going down the rabbit hole of cooking shows online and gourmet recipes, and it's kind of great. That's all I
It's
watch
kind of
these
like,
days.
does
is
anybody
cooking
else
shows.
find that they're like engaging more with their kitchen lately, just having been home so much? No?
How are we looking there?
We're looking okay.
What's
It's
that?
Kevin.
what's your question?
Oh, I was just wondering if anybody's like getting more involved in cooking at home themselves.
Oh, I like to cook at home more than get the food outside.
Yeah.
Good
More
habit.
out here.
Good habit. You know what's going in it.
Right, and especially the oil. We don't know what kind of the oil they use.
Or how much salt they use, right?
Salt is so we can tell them to cut the salt, but the oil we don't know, is it O2O oil or
Interesting.
fresh oil?
That's something I would never think about, Mary. Like, what kind of salt are they using? What kind of oil are they using? That's a very good point, and I think one that most of us, when we're thinking about convenience, don't necessarily consider, right? I'm putting in pepper now. I like to heavily pepper, and then I leave the salt to last.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always do, because the longer you cook salt, the stronger it gets. So I like to.
crank the heat up a little just because we're gonna brown it.
Of
right?
course, yeah, you can crank it. So we're breaking it down now. We're just breaking this to kind of par cook it, and then I'm gonna ask Carl to open up that giant pasta sauce.
check it out.
Yeah, is it open?
Oh, it's open.
Oh,
I
guy.
don't know how you wanna. Are we gonna pour it out?
I kind of feel like we maybe scoop it out. I feel like if I just pour it, this is gonna look like a murder scene.
It's industrial size.
It's
right?
a giant size. It's like from our congregate dining days, right? So this doesn't go off. So I'm just gonna pull it over
It's not
here.
very. Whoa! Look how strong you are. That thing's probably like 80 pounds.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's like that watermelon, the 100-pound watermelon, right, Carl? Here we are.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. All right, pulling it out here. Bam.
Nutmeg and cinnamon, man. I
Nutmeg
can't
and
believe it.
cinnamon.
I can't believe that. I'll believe it when I taste it.
Yeah, you believe it when you taste it.
So what did you have this out for?
What did I have that out for? I was opening the meat with
What
it.
is this thing?
I don't know. I couldn't. You were using the giant
it's a
knife.
peeler and a
It
knife.
is. It is
Okay,
a
good.
peeler and a
It's the
knife.
weirdest peeler I ever saw.
Yeah,
Look at that.
pretty cool.
Interesting. So it's a knife and a peeler.
A knife and a peeler. Now the next thing we can do, Carl,
Yeah.
is we can put the ricotta into a bowl and then mix the egg into it. So what we're doing now is just building our layers. So
How
this
much?
is actually you can use the whole ricotta.
Whole thing? Okay.
Use the whole ricotta and one egg. So what's interesting is that this is a lot of pre-prep when you're building a lasagna, which everybody knows, I'm sure, because many of you have done lasagnas a lot.
But once you get to the layering,
Once you get to the layering, it goes very, very
Easy,
quickly. Yeah.
I mean, this isn't hard, but yeah, you're right. It's a lot of preparation.
It is a lot of preparation, right?
Is this supposed to be just like a gelatinous mass?
It is supposed to be gelatinous, that's
Okay.
right. Yep.
Do
And
you want
then
it drained or?
if there's too much liquid,
Not
yes.
so much. It's okay.
Okay, I would drain that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. There's a lot of weight on it.
Oh,
Just drain it out the side.
no way.
No way. So here we are. So the meat that we used was like low fat meat. So we didn't use like the regular, we used the lean today.
So you can mix in pork sometimes. If you wanna.
Absolutely. Whatever meat mix that you want, or if you're not using meat, whatever veg mix that you want. Again, we're doing meat today. We have a few people in with us today, so we are making a lunch. So we are making something kind of hearty.
Yeah, it's nice. We get to share this with people.
Yeah, finally, congregate dining becomes congregate again, and
Yeah.
that's the good thing about coming in on a Tuesday. If you can, we'll feed you.
So we egged it up,
Egg it up.
and we're done with this.
Egg it
So just
good.
mix it in.
Yeah, just mix it in.
This is wild.
You got it.
This is wild.
It's crazy like a fox,
So the
Carl.
egg is supposed to, what does it do to
The
the
egg
cheese?
binds it. So the egg is a binding agent in that mixture. So just keeps it together
Nice.
and helps
Oh,
it
does it get
not spread out too much.
melty otherwise, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it'll just kind of melt away.
Well, see, this is your baking knowledge mixing over.
But you know what, Carl? Though you know this too. You've made lasagnas before. You know that for
Never.
sure.
Yeah, right. I eat a lot of them.
Arlene, did he make lasagna
Oh,
with you at home?
she's
Remember?
not here
Oh,
today.
she's not.
Yeah,
Oh, Arlene's
yeah.
not
I think
here.
my dad's kicking around.
Oh, okay. Anybody else
he's
there
a
today?
he's a strong silent type on Zoom.
Anybody else on the call today who I haven't spoken to yet? Who else is here?
Let me just show that.
You can kind of take a look at the
Consistency, yeah.
consistency and mixture.
That's what
That's
it
it.
is. Pretty
Yeah.
fluffy, actually.
There we go. So you can see here now we've got a pretty well browned situation happening here. I'm dipping in with 1 cup of this tomato sauce and in it goes.
Okay.
2. So what's important with this? 3,
That's a cup. Where'd you
Yeah.
get that one?
4 in the second drawer.
Holy moly.
So I'm going
Everything's in
4
that
cups.
drawer.
I'm probably going to go 5 cups to start. And then I'm going to start mixing it around. So
Oh boy. That's really cooking.
It is.
Are you gonna boil it down a bit?
I am going to boil it down a bit. It's
I find
important.
that brand sauce a little watery.
Yeah, well, we are going to cook it down. That's why we've put in so much.
Nice.
What's important to note is that I didn't drain the meat, and I didn't drain the meat because I want a little bit of oil in there to make sure that the layers don't stick together. So that's why I haven't drained the additional tablespoon of oil out of the, whoops, that was a bit of a ninja move there. I just
What
knocked some out.
Oh
So
boy.
we're just going to let that cook for a minute. Yeah, thank you, Carl. Carl to the rescue.
Wow, kitchen fires today.
Oh, Lord. We're used to kitchen fires, aren't we, Carl? No, we're not.
No.
We're really not. All right, here we go.
Okay, looking good. So I got all your stuff prepped. Do you want me to dab some of the water off?
I would love for you to dab that, and maybe what we can do is set up the tray.
Sure.
So the next thing we need to do is set it up and make sure that it is just lightly oiled. You can actually spray it with cooking spray if you wish, or you can do like a light smattering of olive oil on it, and just kind of rub it around and make sure it's fully covered.
Hey, you got a pan with a lid here.
Do we have a pan with a lid?
Check this out.
Fantastic.
It's all these hidden supplies we found.
Pretty
All right, good to go. Is that a
amazing.
good size? I know it's deep,
Yeah,
but
that's very deep, but it'll do.
the other one's just too wide.
Yeah, it'll
too
do.
wide.
We're gonna make a small lasagna, deep and
Okay.
small lasagna today.
Deep and delicious.
Deep and delicious sounds like one of those cool pizzas.
So just dab these and I'll keep it to the side for you.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. So just dry them off, and Carl, you can even start the first layer if you want.
Ooh, so the bottom layer is zucchini?
The bottom layer is zucchini, and then I'm gonna cover it in sauce.
No.
You want to put oil first.
Okay, that's what I was curious. Is the sunflower oil okay, or would you use olive?
I would prefer olive.
Okay.
Now, all oil is the same when it cooks, right? When you cook the oil, the composition changes, everything becomes the same.
Well,
The reason why I like olive oil is the distinct flavor.
flavor, that's the ticket.
That
Right?
is
Some
the
people
ticket.
don't like olives. I have a
Some
buddy-
people prefer, if you prefer like a lighter taste, certainly use whatever oil you usually use in your kitchen. You know, peanut oil or something, but
About a teaspoonish.
teaspoon is cool. And just make sure all the sides are totally covered.
Okay, get in there.
Get in there,
Let's
kid.
get in there. Let's get oily.
Let's get oily.
Oh boy.
So you can see we're pretty vigorously cooking down. Like I'm cooking at a lot higher and a lot quicker than I would usually cook this sauce, but it's because we need to get it done, right?
So if you want to switch up, I can stir and you can
Yeah, that's
layer.
fine.
You,
Yeah.
you
I
have
do need
much.
to taste this.
No tasting allowed.
No tasting allowed,
No.
Carl. It's all about
We're
tasting.
cooking blind today.
Cooking
That's what
blind.
we're doing next week. Blindfolded cooking show.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, that's good, hey? Then it's starting to boil down a bit. There we go. Okay.
Good.
So I'm all greased up.
Becca, can you smell the cinnamon at this point?
I actually smelled it more at the beginning.
It's more at the beginning because we used this sauce that we're using actually has a hint of basil in it. So what I'm doing now, woo! I am turning it down a little lower. This is a bit high and I splashed some and it's burning.
Want me to wipe underneath?
Yes, please, but you're gonna be careful because they don't want you to burn yourself.
Oh, I got a cold sponge.
And cold sponge it up, watch your body. All right. Woo, baby.
Oh, it's the spices, eh?
Yeah, it's the spices, that's what's happening.
Okay.
And then I just spilled some more.
Oh gosh. Well, I'll keep that there.
All right, we're just adding it in. So I'm gonna be with Carl in just a second to switch, but I want to just get this to the flavor level that I'm happy with before I hand it off.
Close it. Oh yeah. Getting greasy and dabbing.
Get
zucchini.
greasy? Sounds like us.
I'll lay some down, but I would love to show that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bring this over.
bring it over and show them.
Yeah. Oh, I see a hand up. What's that mean?
Oh, answer the question. So
Hey, that's my dad. He's just fooling around. Right, Dad? Are you? I don't think he knows how to turn on the microphone.
Good.
Good.
No, not good about your dad not turning on the microphone. Good about the taste of the sauce.
Depends if
Mike,
you-
I didn't mean it.
if you like the guy or not. I don't know. All right.
Mike, if you have a question, you can also type it in the chat if you're worried.
So I'm just laying them flat. Do you overlap?
I do overlap.
Okay.
They need to overlap just slightly.
Yep. Can everybody see that? Yeah. Nice. You know what? This is the perfect size
Amazing.
pan
Good find.
because
Good find.
our zucchinis just seem to fit.
Yep.
Good.
That should be decent, I think.
So I'm gonna. You think the thicker ones at the bottom, or are we getting too picky?
You know what? As long as it's a layer, it doesn't matter. You could put the thicker ones down if you wish. Use your judgment.
My zucchini judgment.
Your zucchini judgment. You're the judge.
I want to make sure we have enough left. How many layers? We got
Three. Three would be
layers.
ideal.
Okay. So that'll be okay, I think, for the bottom.
Okay, that's pretty aggressive and it's gonna cook down, so I can switch with you
Sure,
anytime now.
sure. I'm ready. I got your bottom layer set.
All right, kid.
Kid.
You are a kid.
Oh boy.
Here you go.
Little fire over here.
No.
Oh, this is a little bit. The color really changed.
Yeah, the color does change, so you
Yeah.
can continue with that.
Sure thing.
So what I'm gonna do is just layer off the end here, and usually the reason why I do this is just to kind of keep it together, almost like a little pepper thing. I'm gonna take the smaller pieces. Yeah, just along the edges here. Carl, you did a wonderful job. You did great. All right, so that's good. So this is set now. What I might do is actually take some of that sauce.
Hey, you want some?
I might take some.
Yeah, ladle.
If you have a ladle,
Bottomless crazy drawer.
we do have a bottomless wonderful drawer.
There's so many things here I don't know about.
Here we are. All right, so Carl's coming now. And I haven't added any salt to this. So that's something that you should note is that salt is to taste, okay? I haven't added salt to this because we're trying to keep it healthy for our clients here today. If you like salt, please add salt to taste in your recipe, okay? Again, with cooking, it's not specific. You can add as much as you want. Generally speaking, I usually add 2 to 3 teaspoons of salt to my sauces. sometimes more depending on the amount that I'm making. But I mean, honestly, add however much tastes good to you, and you can also use a salt replacement too. So you can see now I'm starting to build my layers. So I'm putting a layer of sauce down over this bottom part. Now, usually I would put down first a layer of ricotta, then a layer of sauce, but because this is the bottom layer and I want to ensure that it cooks well and really absorbs the meaty flavor, I'm doing spoonful by spoonful.
You're pretty saucy today.
I'm very saucy. I'm a saucy girl. I like the saucy. You have to remember that this sauce will also be cooking in as well. So here we go. So here's the first layer, just covered up here completely by sauce. Really important. So there's your first layer. Boom, done. We do want to make sure with the sauce that it doesn't cook down too much so that we don't lose too much, but I'm going to use this. Next thing I'm going to do is put down a layer of ricotta. So here comes the ricotta. So when you're building this, you can take the time that you need. Now I find with the ricotta, sometimes people only like to have one layer of ricotta in the middle. I like to have it almost at every layer if I can.
Ooh, tasty.
Yeah. So if you, go ahead. If you love to, you can also, like salt, you can also salt your ricotta a little bit. I like to do that as well. Again, not doing it today because we have clients here and that wouldn't be beneficial for them. I'm going to use this. I'm just going to start to spread that ricotta out onto my layer as well. Now, traditionally, like I said, it would be ricotta first and then the sauce, but today I'm just kind of mixing it all in together just to get a nice even smushing.
Smush it up.
Smush it up. So technical.
What was that word?
Translucent?
No, you had another one when you were cooking.
Oh boy.
Something.
I'm not sure. There's lots of different.
You said it. I even asked you if it was a word. I forget.
I thought it was translucent. You asked me if it was a word. But anyway, that's fine. We can try to. I'm trying to think. I mean, we'll pull it out later. That's right. We'll pull it out later. There we are. Call me on it for sure. So I'm going to take a little tiny bit of the matzah and do a tiny little layer, a tiny smattering of the matzah here as well. So I like to have that in just for that gooey in the middle. Most of the matzah cheese is for the top, but we are going to do this. And then we can also put a touch of the Parmesan too. So what's nice is to have a bit of a mixture of cheeses, and the Parmesan, if you're not adding a lot of salt to your recipe, will bring a nice saltiness to that mid-bite of your pasta layers or your zucchini layers. I should not call them pasta layers. They're definitely not pasta.
But it's taking the roll off, right?
Yes, absolutely. The pasta stand-in.
I'm going to keep that on low and just keep stirring. You're going to need some
Always
more
the
sauce
bridesmaid here. Yes, I am going to need some more sauce, but I'm going to lay down my layers and then we'll get more. So I'm going to lay down my next set of layers. Again, this is something that you've seen before. I don't know if everyone remembers when we did the scalloped potatoes, which were really dauphinoise potatoes and not scalloped potatoes because there's no cheese. But certainly...
Uh-oh, we lost our...
lost the camera. Carl's going to bring it back. Wow, this week we are on the money.
Oh, may have overheated.
All right, here we are. Layering up here. I think you can all see what we're up to on this end. Just going through and placing this down again. I can even feel how wet this has gotten again. So I'm going to go ahead and dab off the end of this too before here we are, lay this back down. So before I actually lay down another layer, I'm going to come over here, grab a bit of this, and just dab it off. As you can see how shiny that's gotten. We don't want too much water influencing our pasta sauce. So now we're going to do it this way. So I'm going to lay this down here. Look how much easier it is to just spread this out directly onto here. So I'll just do a little bit here. Because we're doing 3 layers, I'm being fairly conservative with my ricotta. If you really love ricotta and you really love those unctuous layers, I recommend doubling the amount of ricotta in your recipe. We were able to purchase this ricotta for $3.99. So
Good deal.
really good deal if you're at your Food Basics
Is that
or
a no-name kind of
a
brand?
no-name
Yeah.
brand. Absolutely. And use those no-name brands, friends. They're so affordable.
I bet they're made in the same factory, to be honest, you know?
You would know more than me,
I don't
Carl.
know. Because, I mean, a lot of times the quality is similar. And if it's for baking or cooking, you're going to make it your own anyway, right?
Of course you are.
Right.
So here we are, just kind of getting that done. So a little bit more here, and there'll be enough for one more layer. So I'm just going to kind of spread that out a little bit more so that every bite gets a little bit.
Sorry, I keep running around here.
Why are you sorry? I think it's great that you're running around. He's very fastidious about making sure that our camera is always on, because if he doesn't, we tend to just go down to the lower grade.
The Zoom quality.
Yeah.
We've been doing really well with the YouTube, so
Yeah.
more people are checking those out.
Mary, have you been finding it useful? Did you manage to find the link for the last one?
No problem.
Good.
Nice.
I'm glad.
Yeah, we put them in the emails now
Yeah.
for the previous week, so if you had to leave early.
Last time is Wednesday class, I couldn't connect it. Then I send you an email, right?
Yeah.
But it's okay now.
Okay, good. All right, laying down some of this matzah on top, and then we're gonna go for the sauce, okay?
Are
So
you
I'm
ready to
coming,
sauce it
I'm
up?
ready to sauce it up. When you're ready, I'm ready.
Saucy lady.
Here it comes.
How much are you talking about?
I need 2 or 3 scoops. 2 or 3 scoops.
Here, let's go ahead and do teamwork.
Okay, teamwork is the dream work.
Here, you can lay it all.
All right,
I will
thank
hold
you.
Still.
Sounds good. Here's 1,
Let me
2.
get a grip here.
You okay? Is that really, really hot?
Just getting a grip. Story of
3.
my life.
So cool. All good. The Carl Heindel story.
Oh boy.
Sounds like an autobiography I could write for
That's
you.
the title. Get a grip.
All right. All right.
That's
Here
good?
we are. Yeah. All right. So here we
I
go.
the stove, I think that's cooked enough.
Yep.
I don't want to keep bubbling over there.
No, that's fine. And you don't want it to
Oh, wow, your
reduce.
cheese is melting already.
My cheese will melt because this is super hot, right? So if this was cooler, the cheese wouldn't hot.
It's hot.
Wow, the cheese wouldn't hot if it was cooler, friends. Wow, you know you're tired when, but needless to say, here we are. Yes, absolutely. I need another coffee. Let's make that happen. Okay, so here we are. We're going through again.
Interesting. So it's the same as if you would use the pasta.
It is the same as though you would use the pasta.
So what came first? Zucchini, lasagna, or pasta?
Who knows?
It's like that old age-old
The
question.
age-old question. The zucchini or the flour?
Did you need this tray for anything?
No, you can take that away. That was just a pressing tray, but thank you, Carl. That was thoughtful of you to ask. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to use the remainder of my lasagna strips, and I'm going to build it in a very specific way here. So it's almost going to be like an open-faced lasagna, because we're actually running out of zucchini strips. We could do a second or third layer here.
We could have got another one.
We could have got another layer if we had had more zucchini. So what I will say is if you're doing a deep dish, certainly cut up more zucchinis. So maybe I would say 2 or 3 more zucchinis would have been really handy right now.
Now, you have to do 3 layers. You can do as many as you want.
You can do as many as you want. Like
too many, too little?
it depends on what kind of food you like to eat.
True.
Traditionally, it's 2 or 3 layers, I think. But honestly, it depends. You would have to talk to somebody who makes a lot of lasagna, maybe like an Italian chef. But I think like in my family, it was usually 2 to 3 layers we would do. So as a general rule, I'm not sure.
So are we adding basil, or because it was in the sauce?
Because it was in the sauce, I'm not adding more basil. Yeah. So here we are.
And the parsley's for the top?
The
as per
parsley is
usual?
for the top. You got it, Carl.
That's my favorite.
That's his favorite
In case
thing.
there was resistance.
Can't do it without Carl's parsley, can we, friends?
At least it's a new
Coming
kind
here.
of parsley.
It is.
Look what I found.
It is Italian parsley for an
Look what I
Italian.
found.
Oh, is it clean?
Well, it is now. I washed it. You dropped it.
Oh,
If you need an extra.
Thank you.
I found you a spare.
you are such a good guy.
Floor zucchini.
He's a solid guy. More zucchini.
Hey, when you're low, you
Yeah.
use words
This
off,
is a cooking show. You don't confuse why you drop.
right?
We can't put it in now.
30-second rule notwithstanding.
30-second rule. I
It's like
like
a
that.
2-minute rule.
All right, Parmesan on first. first,
Yeah.
then we'll add the matzah, the same principle for your layers.
Amazing.
This is an open paste at the top now though, because what we're gonna do is just allow the cheese at the top to become the top layer, right? So what I'm gonna do is I've got everything set there. I'm gonna put on some cheese, and then I'm gonna dump on the rest of the sauce, and then we're gonna cover it in the Parmesan cheese.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's exactly what we're gonna do, because I would do it like another layer, but I don't have it. So let's get that sauce here, Carl, and let's
Sauce it
cover it
up.
up. Let's sauce it up. Let's go. So start in the corner, and we're gonna go all the way through.
Oh, wow, what's all that noise?
I don't know what the noise is. What I will say is we're gonna go ahead and just cover the whole thing. So I would even
You
Carl,
gonna dump?
I'm gonna dump.
Be careful.
I will be careful.
Very hot.
So I'm just gonna place this here. There we are. All right. Now what I'm gonna do,
Spread it out.
exactly, is I'm gonna go ahead and spread it out now. So I'm just gonna make sure that it gets into all of the corners. Oh, beautiful. So it's really gonna get into all the corners there. And then we're gonna cover this top in the cheese. So this is gonna be stunning. So the trick that you do with this is that you cover it for the first part of the cooking. And we've preheated the oven to 400 degrees.
Yep.
So you cover it.
It's gonna be hard to pick up, right, because of the sauce.
It is gonna be hot to
Get some
pick up.
weeds.
Here we
We
go.
rearranged the kitchen recently.
We did.
Things are in new spots.
And then we're gonna mix in a little bit of this.
Holy moly.
So I'll add a bit of Parmesan to the top as well. Carl loves a good spicy bite.
More cheese, more garlic.
More cheese, more garlic.
What is
Very
the
good.
spice you're smelling now?
What am I smelling?
Yeah,
I smell-
what in this lasagna is the nice odor you're getting? What spice?
I smell the cinnamon.
I'm getting the sauce, a lot of the cheese though. That's because I want to eat cheese right now, so I'm distracted.
I smell the cinnamon and the black pepper more than anything. Now we've covered it with a little bit of parsley, and the rest is the fresh parsley for the top. So you can take a quick look.
Look at that.
Now,
Looks good.
yeah, let's
Yes.
pretty handy, right?
Yeah.
You put this in
The
the
first
microwave.
The first time I see is zucchini lasagna.
All right.
So I never know you use the zucchini to make lasagna.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, you learn. Yeah.
You do learn.
we just
So
pop
we're
it
gonna
in.
plop it in now. So this is gonna go in and cook for about 45 minutes at 400 degrees. Then at the last moment, probably about 40 minutes, what we're gonna do, take the top off and broil it. So if you're gonna broil that, it usually takes you up to 500 or 550 for about 2 minutes. And then we'll add on the rest of the parsley.
On top of the
On top,
crispy layer. Oh,
And then we
beautiful.
will let it sit. So the key with the lasagna is that you want to let it sit for about 5-10 minutes. The longer you let a lasagna sit, the easier it is to cut. To be honest with you, any big restaurant will tell you, leave it sit for almost half an hour before you cut it.
Let it rest.
Let it rest,
Right.
yeah. Like a piece of meat.
Meat,
Strange,
wine,
yeah.
anything.
Let it all
Let it
rest.
rest. It's cool.
However,
Be
if you're going to
patient.
serve it right away, just lift it out with a scoop because it'll probably fall apart. That's just what it does.
Nobody wants the floor zucchini.
No, that's for you, Carl. You want the
Later.
floors. I throw it in the oven. Let's do this.
Ready? Okay.
Ready. Careful.
That's heavy. That's a real hefty lasagna.
It is a hefty lasagna. So I'll start the timer,
Okay.
and I will put
We're off to the races.
45.
And keep checking this
Start.
camera here. Hey, it's still working.
There we go. Perfection. So now it's in,
Yep.
and we're set.
Yep.
And we'll take a good shot of it at the end so you can see how it turns out. Will anybody be making it this week or giving it a try?
Super. Yeah.
Thank,
Awesome. Let us know how it goes. We've been following
thank you. Thank you so much. I'm sure it's gonna be very delicious.
Oh, Shanaz.
Should be very
Yummy, yummy.
Thank you so much, Shanaz. I'm so happy to see you here. That's wonderful.
Thank you so much. You know, I wanted to mention that sometimes when I'm making the sauce, Instead of 2 or 3 spoon of salt, I use a bit ginger instead of
Oh,
salt. Yeah,
fascinating. So ginger replaces your salt content with the sharpness of the flavor.
yeah, yeah.
That's a
It's
really cool tip. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, it's because it has flavor and it's very good for health.
Yes,
Amazing.
I agree.
So you should use ginger and turmeric together then. Be like a superfood. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for that advice. That's great.
Well, we had hot peppers we didn't have.
My
Oh.
pleasure.
Peppers for you, Carl. You're cut off. You are cut off.
Oh, we got Tex-Mex cheese, maybe.
Tex-Mex cheese maybe next time. I told Carl no Tex-Mex today.
Shoot.
He's cut off. We got it up. But
Yeah.
next week is a baking episode. Is there anything that you folks would like to try for next week? Is there any special recipe?
Wow.
I think whipped cream.
What do you want to try? What's something you've been thinking about trying at home that you'd like us to experiment for? Or we could do your test run. Any takers? Anything from chocolate pudding to brownies to
Wow.
cakes to pies.
Everybody's thinking mouths are watering. Oh, we could surprise it too.
We could.
Let's see, we're giving us something to go on.
Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
Surprise us.
So a no ingredient. All
Why
right.
don't we have a dessert off?
You want to have a dessert off?
Maybe I'm getting myself.
All right. Let's have a dessert off next week. Okay. What's the
Dessert.
ingredient, guys? You have to choose the ingredient. This is my revenge now.
Dessert
I
battle.
have to come back from the ashes here. What is my ingredient? What's the
We both
ingredient,
have to
friends?
use it. Dessert battle with, we could,
Any ingredient. What ingredient do you choose? What do you think?
somebody's got to have a good one.
Just throw something out.
Challenge us.
Challenge us. Give us anything.
What can we do? Flavors.
Well, my go-to is chocolate.
I mean, you can't go wrong, right?
Chocolate?
We all are winners when it's a chocolate competition.
All right. Yes, we can
Yeah,
all
but
be winners with chocolate.
We'll do dessert off the most interesting dish. We'll get the judge. Will be official. Okay?
I have to win this.
Chocolate dessert battle.
I'm invested. Chocolate dessert battle next week. It's on.
Okay.
It's
Good
on,
one.
my friends.
Good one.
Listen, everyone, even if you haven't had a chance to talk to us today, I want to thank you for being here. It is so great to see you. It is wonderful to have you. We appreciate you. We want you to know that you can unmute yourself anytime and have a conversation with us. We love it.
Yeah.
Or you're free just to watch too, whatever works for you. Either way, we're so happy to see you. The club is open. Give us an email if you want to come in. We'd love to have you here. And we miss you.
Mhm.
And we look forward to seeing you for the chocolate off next
Oh my
week.
gosh, sorry, what did I get myself into?
It's going to be epic.
I'm just gonna buy a Hershey bar and put it on a plate.
Yeah, that's that attitude so that I can win.
I'll put a mint leaf or something on it.
That's good.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, you got it. You got it. All right, everyone. So much love to you.
Thank you.
We'll see
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye-bye,
Becca and
everyone.
Carl.
We'll see you next
Yeah.
week.
Bye, loves.
Bye.
Bye.